You've felt this before. You started changing. You started thinking differently. You started seeing things more clearly. And suddenly, people you barely knew started showing up. People who never cared before. People who seemed interested, but something felt off. You're not imagining it. There's a reason this happens, and it's not what most people think. When you begin to wake up, when you start seeing life differently, when you stop living on autopilot, something shifts. You become quieter inside. You stop reacting the way you used to. You stop needing the noise. You stop chasing things that don't matter. And that change, it shows. People can sense it. They can feel that you're different now. They see that you're calmer, that you're not scattered anymore, that you're not desperate for attention or approval. And that's when the wrong people show up. Not because they want to support you, not because they're happy for you, but because something in you makes them uncomfortable. Something in your new peace threatens them. Something in your clarity reminds them of what they're avoiding in themselves. So they come closer. They ask questions. They seem interested. They want to know what changed. But it's not real curiosity, it's something else. Maybe they want to pull you back. Maybe they want to test you. Maybe they just want to be near the light you're starting to carry, even if they have no intention of finding their own. This happens more than you think. And if you don't understand it, it can confuse you. It can make you doubt yourself. It can make you think you're doing something wrong. But you're not. This is part of the process. This is what happens when you stop living in confusion and start living with intention. The wrong people notice, and they react. If you're enjoying this message, subscribe, leave a like, and share this with someone who needs it. Now, let's continue. And the real reason this happens is not what most people think. When you start waking up, you stop being easy to control. You stop agreeing with things just to keep the peace. You stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You stop going along with things that don't feel right. And that's threatening to certain people. Not everyone wants you to be awake. Not everyone wants you to see clearly. Because when you see clearly, you see them clearly too. You see the games. You see the empty words. You see the people who only show up when they need something. You see the people who drain you and call it friendship. You see the people who criticize your growth because it makes them face their own stagnation. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when people start testing you. They'll say things to see if you'll react the way you used to. They'll create drama to see if you'll get pulled in. They'll ask for your time, your energy, your attention, just to see if you'll give it like you used to. This isn't always intentional. Most people don't wake up in the morning thinking, I'm going to disturb someone's peace today. But they do it anyway, because your peace reminds them of their chaos. Your clarity reminds them of their confusion. Your growth reminds them that they're standing still. And instead of looking inward, they look at you. They tell you you've changed. They say you're distant. They say you're not the same person anymore. And they say it like it's a bad thing. But here's the truth. You're not supposed to be the same person anymore. Growth means change. Waking up means leaving old versions of yourself behind. It means letting go of who you were when you were confused, when you were people-pleasing, when you were running from yourself. Have you felt this? Have you noticed people treating you differently since you started changing? It's not your imagination. And it doesn't stop there. The wrong people get closer because they want something from you. Not always something obvious, not always something they can name, but something. Maybe they want your energy. Maybe they want your attention. Maybe they want to feel important by being close to someone who's becoming more centered. Maybe they just want to stop feeling so uncomfortable around your calmness. But they don't want what you have. They just want to stand near it. There's a difference. Someone who truly respects your growth will give you space. They'll let you move at your own pace. They'll support you quietly. They won't need constant proof that you still care. They won't make your awakening about them. But the wrong people, they make it about them. They show up and immediately need something. They need reassurance. They need you to explain yourself. They need you to justify why you're different now. They need you to prove you're still the person they knew. And if you try to explain, they don't really listen. They just wait for you to finish so they can tell you why you're wrong. This is exhausting, and if you're not careful, it can make you shrink back. It can make you hide your growth just to keep the peace. It can make you go back to pretending just so people stop bothering you. But that's exactly what they want. They don't want you awake. They want you back to sleep. Because when you were asleep, you were easier to be around. You didn't ask questions. You didn't have boundaries. You didn't challenge anything. Does this sound familiar? Here's what most people don't realize. When you wake up, you become a mirror. People look at you and see their own life reflected back. And if they don't like what they see, they blame the mirror. They don't say, maybe I need to change. They say, you've changed and I don't like it. And that's not your problem to fix. You can't wake up for other people. You can't drag them into awareness. You can only walk your own path and let them decide if they want to walk theirs. But there's something deeper. The wrong people also show up because they sense you're letting go of fear, and that terrifies them. When you live in fear, you're predictable. You react the same way every time. You avoid conflict. You say yes when you mean no. You stay small to make others comfortable. But when you start waking up, you stop being afraid in the same way. You stop fearing judgment. You stop fearing rejection. You stop fearing being alone. And people notice that. Suddenly, you're not so easy to guilt. You're not so easy to manipulate. You're not so quick to apologize for things that aren't your fault. And the people who used to rely on your fear, they panic. They come closer because they want to see if you're really free or if you're just pretending. They test your boundaries to see if you'll hold them. They push to see if you'll break. And when you don't break, they get upset. Not because you did anything wrong, but because they lost their power over you. This is hard to accept, especially if these are people you've known for a long time. Especially if these are people you care about. But caring about someone doesn't mean letting them control you. You can love someone and still walk away. You can care about someone and still protect your peace. You can wish someone well and still keep your distance. Waking up teaches you that. It teaches you that not every relationship is meant to last forever. It teaches you that some people are only in your life for a season. And it teaches you that holding on to the wrong people will stop you from meeting the right ones. Have you felt guilty for pulling away from people who don't respect your growth? You're not wrong for doing that. You're not cold. You're not selfish. You're just finally choosing yourself. And that's something the wrong people will never understand. Because they've been taught that choosing yourself is wrong, that putting yourself first is selfish, that having boundaries is mean. But it's not. And this is where most people get hurt. The wrong people will make you feel guilty for growing. They'll say things like, "You think you're better than everyone now?" Or, "You've gotten so serious," or, "You're not fun anymore." And if you're not careful, you'll start believing them. You'll start thinking that maybe you are doing something wrong. Maybe you are being too distant. Maybe you should go back to how you were before just to keep everyone happy. But here's the truth. The moment you start dimming your light to make others comfortable, you lose yourself again. And that's exactly what they want. Not because they're bad people, but because your light makes them see their own darkness. Your peace makes them see their own chaos. Your clarity makes them see how lost they've been. And instead of doing the work to find their own light, they try to pull you back into the dark. This isn't always loud, it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's just a comment, a joke, a little remark that seems harmless but lands heavy. You've changed. You're no fun anymore. You think you're so enlightened now. These are not innocent observations. These are attempts to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel bad for growing, to make you feel like you've done something wrong by becoming more aware. But you haven't. Waking up is not something to apologize for. Seeing clearly is not something to feel guilty about. Choosing peace over chaos is not something to defend. And the people who make you feel like it is, they're showing you exactly who they are. Does this sound like someone in your life? If it does, you're not alone. This happens to everyone who starts to wake up. The people who can't grow with you will try to stop you from growing at all. Not because they hate you, but because they're afraid. Afraid of being left behind. Afraid of facing themselves. Afraid of realizing they've been living half asleep their whole life. And that fear, it's not yours to carry. But it gets clearer once you see the next part. When you start waking up, you stop needing people the way you used to. And that's when people get uncomfortable. Before, you needed approval. You needed validation. You needed people to like you so you could feel okay about yourself. But when you wake up, that need starts to fade. You realize that no amount of approval from others will ever make you feel whole. You realize that validation from the outside is temporary. You realize that the only opinion that really matters is your own. And the moment you stop needing people, they feel it. They feel that you're not looking to them for answers anymore. They feel that you're not waiting for their permission to live your life. They feel that you're not dependent on their approval to feel good about yourself. And that shift, it changes everything. Suddenly, they can't guilt you the way they used to. They can't make you feel small with a look or a comment. They can't control your mood or your choices. So they try harder. They call more, they text more, they show up unannounced. They ask invasive questions. They demand explanations. All because they're trying to get back the version of you that needed them. But that version doesn't exist anymore. And the more they push, the more you pull away. Not because you're cold, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand that you can't save people who don't want to save themselves. You can't force people to grow. You can't make people see what they're not ready to see. You can't convince someone to change when they're comfortable being stuck. All you can do is keep walking your path and trust that the right people will walk alongside you without needing to be convinced. Have you noticed this? Have you felt people pulling on you more ever since you started needing them less? It's not a coincidence. People don't like it when you stop needing them, because needing them gave them a role in your life. It gave them a sense of importance. It gave them control. And when you take that control back, they don't know what to do with themselves. But here's the part most people overlook. The wrong people don't just show up. They also stay longer than they should. Because you let them. Not because you're weak, not because you're naive, but because you're kind. And kind people often confuse patience with loyalty. They confuse tolerance with love. They confuse staying with strength. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is leave. When you start waking up, you see who people really are. You see who's there for you and who's just there for what you can give them. You see who respects your boundaries and who constantly tests them. You see who celebrates your growth and who resents it. And once you see it, you have a choice. You can keep letting them stay. You can keep making excuses for their behavior. You can keep hoping they'll change, even though they've shown you over and over that they won't. Or you can let them go. This is the hardest part, because letting go doesn't always mean you stop caring. It just means you stop letting them hurt you. It means you stop sacrificing your peace for their comfort. It means you stop betraying yourself to keep them happy. And that takes courage. It takes courage to walk away from people you've known for years. It takes courage to disappoint people who expect you to stay the same. It takes courage to choose your own well-being over someone else's expectations. But that's what waking up requires. It requires you to stop living for other people. It requires you to stop shrinking so others can feel big. It requires you to stop apologizing for taking up space. Does this feel familiar? Have you been holding on to people longer than you should because you didn't want to hurt them? Here's the truth. You're not responsible for how people react to your growth. You're not responsible for making your awakening easy for them. You're not responsible for staying small so they feel comfortable. Your only responsibility is to keep growing, to keep waking up, to keep choosing peace, even when it costs you relationships. Because not every relationship is meant to survive your awakening, and that's okay. But it doesn't stop there. The wrong people will tell you you're being selfish, and for a while you might believe them, because you've been taught that putting yourself first is wrong, that caring about your own needs is selfish, that saying no is mean. But that's not true. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others if you're falling apart. You can't be there for people if you're not there for yourself first. And the people who call you selfish for having boundaries, they're usually the ones who benefited from you not having any. Think about it. Who gets upset when you start saying no? The people who are used to you saying yes. Who gets upset when you start putting yourself first? The people who are used to you putting them first. Who gets upset when you start protecting your energy? The people who are used to draining it. It's not that you've changed into a bad person. It's that you've stopped being an easy person to take advantage of. And that makes certain people angry. They'll accuse you of being distant. They'll say you don't care anymore. They'll say you've become cold or arrogant or difficult. But what they really mean is, you're not doing what I want anymore. And that's their problem, not yours. Waking up means learning to sit with other people's disappointment. It means learning to let people be upset with you without rushing to fix it. It means learning that you don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life in a way that feels right to you. Have you been called selfish for protecting your peace? If you have, take it as a sign that you're doing something right. Because the people who truly care about you won't call you selfish for taking care of yourself. They'll encourage it, they'll respect it, they'll support it. The wrong people? They'll fight it. They'll make you feel guilty. They'll make you doubt yourself. They'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong just for choosing not to suffer. But you're not. And this is where most people give up. They go back to people-pleasing. They go back to saying yes when they mean no. They go back to living for everyone else. But you don't have to. And it gets clearer once you see the next part. The truth is, the wrong people get closer when you start waking up because they're hoping you'll fall back asleep. They're hoping it's just a phase. They're hoping you'll go back to who you were. They're hoping you'll stop asking questions and just go along with things like you used to. But you won't. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you taste real peace, you can't go back to pretending chaos is normal. Once you experience what it's like to live with intention, you can't go back to living on autopilot. And deep down, they know that. That's why they fight so hard to pull you back. That's why they test you. That's why they make you feel guilty. Because if you stay awake, it means they have to face the fact that they're still asleep. And that's terrifying. It's easier to convince you that you're wrong than to admit they've been wrong their whole life. It's easier to call you selfish than to admit they've been living for everyone else. It's easier to say you've changed than to admit they've stayed the same. But none of that is your responsibility. You're not here to wake other people up. You're not here to convince anyone. You're not here to wait for people to catch up to you. You're here to live your life, to honor your growth, to trust the process. And that means letting the wrong people go. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with clarity, with peace,
with the understanding that some people are meant to be part of your old life, not your new one. Does this make sense? Have you been holding on to people who belong to the version of you that no longer exists? If you have, it's okay. Everyone does this. Everyone holds on a little longer than they should because they hope things will change. But here's what you need to understand. People only change when they want to, and no amount of loyalty, patience, or love from you will make them ready if they're not. So stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop sacrificing your peace for people who don't even want to meet you where you are. Your awakening is not a group project. It's yours, and you get to walk it alone if that's what it takes. But there's something deeper.
When you start waking up, the wrong people get closer, but the right people get closer too. You just have to make space for them. And the only way to make space is to let go of what's no longer serving you. Let go of the people who drain you. Let go of the relationships that feel like work. Let go of the connections that only exist because they always have. The right people don't need convincing. They don't need explanations. They don't need you to dim your light so they feel comfortable. They see you growing and they celebrate it. They see you changing and they support it. They see you setting boundaries and they respect them. That's how you know they're the right people. They don't make your awakening harder. They make it easier. They don't test you. They trust you. They don't pull you backward. They walk beside you, or they cheer you on from a distance. And those people, they'll show up when you stop wasting your energy on the ones who don't belong. So let the wrong people leave. Let them be upset. Let them think you've changed, because you have. And that's the whole point. You're not the same person you were before you started waking up, and you never will be again. That's not something to apologize for. That's something to honor. Waking up is not comfortable. It's not easy. It's not something everyone will understand. But it's the most important thing you'll ever do. Because it's the difference between living your life and just surviving it. So keep going. Keep waking up. Keep choosing yourself. Keep protecting your peace. And trust that the people who are meant to be in your life will stay, and the ones who aren't will fall away. Not because they're bad people, but because they belong to who you used to be, not who you're becoming. And that's okay. You don't owe anyone access to the new version of you, especially not the people who couldn't appreciate the old one. Walk your path. Trust your journey. Honor your growth. If this message helped you, subscribe so you don't miss the next reflection. Leave a like and share this with someone who needs to hear this today.